I don't see a way that Jirard the Completionist can get out of the current controversy he's embroiled in, especially now that we have audio showing that Jirard alluded to paying Muda and Karl off to not cover this story. I have a few different things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or via YouTube membership. Now, of course, over the past few weeks, the Jirard the Completionist controversy has been blowing up on social media. Millions of people have been talking about this situation on, social media like YouTube and Twitter/X, but things have only gotten worse for him because, of course, he came out with one of the worst apologies that we have heard in a long time. Not as bad as the ukulele apology that we got into this year, but it is still a pretty bad apology, where he basically admits to all of the things that he was accused of, but now things are even worse for him. People are even more furious because there is a new post with a clip of audio that is going viral where Jirard alludes to paying Muda and Karl off before this story actually was, out in the public eye, where he wanted them to not cover it. I'm not going to play all of this audio, but I am going to play, the most notable bits and pieces. So this was posted by Solace and Dread on Twitter/X.
The last thing I want to do is ruin the legacy of my family, of my mom and her memory.
Well, maybe you should have paid the money in the first place. I understand that this is a charity that is owned by their family. Do not get me wrong. I understand that you have employees that you have to pay, that, people that helped you that you have to pay. And ultimately, yes, this is going to ruin the legacy of this charity that happens to have your mother's name attached to it and your father's name attached to it. But maybe this whole controversy wouldn't have happened if you had actually paid the money where it needed to go in a respectful amount of time, because all you did was disrespect the people who gave you money and also the charities you claimed that you were going to donate it towards.
Especially because this is such a personal thing for the last 25 years of my life.
Oh, boo-hoo, cry me a river and float upstream. It is not their fault that they caught you doing something like this. This giant charity fraud. I mean, obviously, yes, he has paid money now, but he even admitted that $125,000 of that was kept for basically operating costs, which, that's a hefty chunk of change, but at the same time, all of this money should have been paid years and years ago. I mean, this goes back a decade. It's not like he held the money for a couple of months, while he was letting it accumulate. That's not what happened here. I mean, a decade's a long time, especially when you were never transparent with the people donating.
I'm not trying to be like, do you guys want money to help me hide this? It's not what this is at all.
I'm not trying to offer you guys money. He is alluding to giving them money. He's trying to, plant those seeds like, oh, I'm not trying to offer you money. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't ask you to hide this story for money. Like, he's not straight up and directly saying it, but he is most certainly inferring it here. I mean, anybody with half a brain can see that.
I'm just asking from a humanity perspective of, like, if I am the target of this, I have 20 mouths to feed. I have sponsors. I have a business. I'm trying to make video games. I'm trying to get...
I understand that you have a lot going on in your life, that ultimately, yes, this is a big piece of your legacy is Jirard the Completionist and all of the money that he has raised for charity, but unfortunately, you deserved to get called out because you did not do what people expected of you. You were not transparent. You did not give the money when you were supposed to give the money. And of course, people are going to call you out for that. And it is only because of these few YouTubers that you got caught. And if it wasn't for Karl and Muda actually finding out all of this information and putting it all together for the world to see, he would still be doing it. It would still be sitting in an account. He still would be allowing it to accumulate. And ultimately, he just doesn't care. He does not sound like he is sorry at all in this. He just kind of sounds like he's worried about himself. He is worried about figuring out a way out of this. And of course, this has not gone over well with people. It's got nearly 1 million views in a day. And of course, many people here are absolutely roasting them. And yes, it is, confirmed that this is not AI generated, because I did see some people posting that, and of course Solace and Dread also, directly responded to this. Karl did post this in his Discord server. It is real, it is legitimate, and people are, saying things like, ugh, why would you do that? Why would you do any of that? This is a terrible thing. In this video, he also brings up other YouTubers that have been part of controversies, like JonTron. He even calls JonTron a racist now. Of course, he did not know that the game that he would say was Game of the Year, Sea of Stars, would inevitably remove his cameo from the game, and the same thing happened with JonTron all those years ago. Ukulele, his cameo was removed because he went on social media, and JonTron ultimately said a lot of things, about the current state of the world and politics, which of course is his right, and he was virtually canceled. Of course, his career was not ended or obliterated the way that Jirard The Completionist was, but, it still was a controversy that JonTron faced, and now The Completionist is facing virtually, the same ends. His career is being attacked, his cameos in games are being removed, and it is hilarious because Sea of Stars was his Game of the Year. Of course, it seems like a giant shill fest, because he got to, work with the developers on a bit of the game, but ultimately, he calls JonTron a racist. Yeah, well, you're a scammer. I mean, you're a frauder. Why do you think that that's going to get you out of it? That people are going to go, you know what? I actually remember that JonTron controversy. That was actually worse than this. Of course, that's not the response that you're going to get in it, but it probably was the response he was hoping for. Jirard wouldn't be in this if he didn't let greed overtake him. Now he's reaping what he's sown, and all Karl did was ask a question. The amount of panic, supposedly bribery to keep Karl and Muda quiet, blaming pressure from, JonTron, really shows this was something that was always in the back of his mind. Yeah, I mean, he clearly knew how to respond to this. He clearly knew that he needed to allude to certain things, try to see if he could, hook them with a bribe, things like that. I mean, it does seem like he had all of the responses ready to go, but he probably has had them ready to go for, years at this point. Definitely proof of the fraud, do the crime, do the time, simple as that. He should have just done things differently. Yeah, ultimately, he should have known that this was never going to end well. Having all of this money, we're not talking a couple $1,000s, we're talking over $600,000 sitting in a bank account for over a decade. Yeah, of course, he should have done things differently, and he should have actually been transparent with people and ultimately donated the money where it needed to go. But yes, this new audio clip is absolutely blowing up on social media. Jirard alluding to paying Muda and Karl off, this new audio recording of The Completionist, begging Karl and Muda not to bring this to light is absolutely hilarious. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this and of course found it important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.